Hi, I'm David the Fishing Pastor, and I want to start a new series today talking about bank fishing. I'm primarily a bank fisherman, even though I do have a kayak. You'll mostly find me on the banks. And this whole past month, I actually did a bank fishing tournament, which I'll do another video about. But I actually want to talk to you about some of the gear that I use, the rods and reels that I bring, the tackle, and things like that. So today we're going to start talking about rods and reels. So let's get into it, and let me show you what I take with me every time I go bank fishing. Okay, so if you watch any of my videos, you'll pretty much see me with the same 3 rods when I go bank fishing. When I go kayak fishing, I usually take a few more, but when I'm on the banks, I generally have these 3 rods with me, and I'm going to go through each and every one of them one by one. I just want you to know it's 2 bait casters and a spinning rod, and all of my videos where you see me catching fish or anything, I have these 3 rods with me regardless whether I'm on the bank or on the kayak. But when I'm on the bank, I usually only have these 3 rods with me. Again, you're on the bank, things get heavy, you know, you're carrying a lot of stuff, you're carrying a backpack, you're carrying whatever you're carrying, and so you don't want to be carrying 6 or 7 rods with you. So I bring 3 rods, which I think is pretty good. Even hearing the opinions of other, you know, YouTube fishermen or other fishermen when you're on the bank, 3 rods is a pretty good number. So let me go into the first one, and we'll talk about what this rod and reel is and how I set it up. Okay, so this first rod and reel, and I'm really just going to talk to you about the type or type of rod, type of reel. Doesn't necessarily have to be this brand if you're thinking about getting something. I have a couple of Abu Garcias, but this is just what I like. So it could be really any brand of your choice, Lew's or 13 Fishing or whatever it is. But this is what I have. And first of all, I'm kind of a fisherman on a budget. I don't have a bunch of money to be spending, you know, money on 15, 16 rods, whatever. So I don't have too many rods, but this is what I use, and it seems to work pretty well for me. This is my Abu Garcia Aura winch setup, and it's a complete setup, comes together, rod and reel, and this is my cranking rod. I love crankbaits. Almost every time I go fishing, I'm gonna have a crankbait tied onto this rod, and I'm gonna have this rod with me. This is specifically for crankbait fishing, and really it's more specifically for kind of deep diving crankbaits. This is a 5-4-to-1 reel, so it's a slower reel. So it has that torque for baits with a lot of resistance. But what I generally am going to be fishing almost every single time is a square bill crankbait, and I'm going to be throwing this on here. Now the only issue is that I can't cover as much water as if I'm throwing a 6-4-to-1 or a 7-1-to-1 or something. I can't cover as much water because it's a little bit slower, but it still gets me there. So this is the Aura winch, again 5-4-to-1, and I'm generally going to have a 12-pound fluorocarbon line on here. No braid, just straight fluorocarbon, and that's basically what I'm going to have on here. The rod itself is a 7-foot medium rod, and it has a pretty fast tip. And it's a medium because when you have a fish with, or when you have a lure with treble hooks, you don't want them to get that leverage to come off. So it actually does a really good job because it's medium. It keeps that fish hooked, and you know, it works pretty well for me. I like it a whole lot. Again, the only downside is that the reel is slower. But other than that, it's really great. It's really smooth, works well for me. I've caught some pretty nice fish on it, and this is my newest one here. And yeah, 7-foot medium, and again, always just 12-pound fluorocarbon on this one. Second setup that I have is my Abu Garcia Silvermax setup, and again, I like Abu Garcias. Doesn't have to be an Abu Garcia, it can be any other company, but this is a 6-4-to-1 reel, so it's that in between. It's not too fast, but it's not slow. It's that kind of that right speed. And I have it spooled up with 20-pound braid because I honestly, where I fish, I don't need much more than 20 pounds. I don't know that I've ever broken off with 20 pounds. So I don't, but I do always have a fluorocarbon leader, and it's going to be 14 or 15 pounds generally, fluorocarbon leader. This is my all-around rod. I can throw so many different things on it, and I throw everything. I've thrown everything from crankbaits to spinnerbaits to jigs to chatterbaits, just so many different things that I've thrown on this rod. On this reel and rod setup. The rod is a 7-foot medium heavy, so honestly, if I could just take one rod and one reel with me, I would take this one, because this is my most durable. This is my most wide range rod. The other one's made for cranking. This one I can generally throw many different things on there, and it works really well for me. The rod is pretty stiff. It has a lot of power behind it, and I can throw some pretty good things on here. And this is the Abu Garcia Silver Max. And then last but not least, this is my spinning rod setup. This is a Daiwa Crossfire spinning rod. You know, when I see things online on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever, people say baitcasters are spinning, spinning reels. It's really not an either or, it's a both. And I think to be successful, you need to have both in your arsenal, and you need to know how to use both of them. This is my finesse setup. I almost always and exclusively have a drop shot set up on here. There are times when I might throw something else, but it's rare. Generally, this is my drop shot, and it goes so well with my arsenal when I can't power fish, when they're just not hitting on those bigger, heavier, faster things, and I really need to slow down and really just need to put something in the fish's face and finesse it right in front of them. It works for me great. Again, not an expensive setup. I believe it was about $50 retail. I don't know the gear ratio, great gear ratio on the reel. I do know this is a 6'6" medium light rod. Again, very good, and it's not just for smaller fish. The other day I actually caught a 4-pounder, a 20-inch 4-pounder on here on a 4-inch drop shot, 4-inch worm on a drop shot setup. So it works great, and you really do need both. It was a 6'6". I've broken off the tip a couple times and repaired it, so it's probably like a 6'3" or something now. But again, just works really great, and you definitely need both of them. So these are the 3 rods and reels you'll generally see in my videos. If I'm in the kayak, you might see a couple more. But when I do go bank fishing, this is what I have with me, and they work really well. They catch me lots of fish, and they catch me some nice fish every once in a while too. So that's what I have. I think it's the most versatile. You could have a 7-to-1 and a 7 gear ratio baitcaster. You can have a heavy rod with you, whatever, depending on what you're going to be fishing is really what you need. But overall, general places that I fish, the conditions that I fish, these 3 rods do it all for me. So that's it. That's the 3 rods that I take with me. It's 2 baitcasters, 1 spinning rod. Definitely, in my opinion, very necessary for each and every one of them. So hopefully this helps you out. And you don't need to spend a whole lot of money. You don't need to go out and spend $200 on a rod. I mean, if you want to, that's great. I can't. I don't have the money to do that. But again, this works great for me. It's inexpensive, and it does the job. So there you go. So that's it. That's my rod and reel arsenal for bank fishing. 2 baitcasters, 1 spinning rod. All have use, all have a different purpose, but they all do great for me. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you like my videos. Subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Share this with your friends. Tell people about my channel. I'm trying to grow it. I'm on Instagram as well as The Fishing Pastor. Find me there, and I'll definitely give you a follow back. But thanks again. Hopefully you get out there, you catch some fish. I'm going to try to get out here and maybe do a little bit of fishing before the sun goes down. And hopefully you get out there and find those really nice ones. So thanks for watching again. God bless. Have a great day. Catch lots and lots of fish.